Okay, welcome to the presentation. We would like to take this opportunity to discuss some of the options and solutions that are currently out there in the marketplace for remote working. We understand that there will be some times over the next few months that most of our employees will be working remotely, and we wanted to discuss a lot of the solutions that we see out there and some of the solutions that we currently have in place here at Microdesk. So let's go ahead and get started. So for today's agenda, when we talk about some of the remote working solutions, we wanted to discuss some of the desktop solutions. What is currently out there for utilizing high-powered machines where most of us may not have high-powered machines at our disposal? Cloud file storage solutions, being able to host files up into the cloud to share them across teams, internal and external. Production solutions, what kind of solutions we have in place currently for doing the production work within Revit, AutoCAD currently. Team collaboration. While working from home or working in remote locations, how can we still manage to feel like a team and feel part of the team? So what types of solutions are out there currently in the market that can help us collaborate with our team, internal and possibly external? And then remote support solutions. What kind of remote support options are out there for those remote users who need troubleshooting, who need desktop solutions for when they come across issues inside Revit, AutoCAD, or they just need those IT professionals or BIM managers to be able to log into remote users' PCs to be able to help them out. So a little bit about Microdesk. Microdesk is an AECO technology consulting firm. We have been in business for the past 25 years. We were established in 1994, mainly as a Autodesk partner and reseller. We have really grown over the past decade or so in really expanding upon our consulting industry. We have over 13 locations across the United States and one in London, with many remote users scattered throughout the United States. We have over 300 professionals on staff, and 230 of those come from the AEC space, whether they're architects, engineers, construction specialists, as well as software developers. And we cover all sectors of the AECO industry that have all the disciplines involved throughout all stages of the project lifecycle. From early on schematics all the way to owner operations. So my name is Chris Furcho. I'm the Strategic Business Consulting Manager here at Microdesk. I have a background in working with structural engineering firms as BIM managers and designers, working within the engineering space for probably the past 12 years. And some of our more highly capable staff that we have here at Microdesk that you may, if you have additional questions on any of the solutions today, Ray Soroy and Brad Horst are more than happy to assist in any questions, any follow-up questions we may have. Ray and Brad both come from the AEC space, more on the IT side. Ray being our Director of Cloud Services and Brad Horst being our VP of CIO Advisory Services. So some of the desktop solutions that we currently see out there, when we talk about some of we need the high-powered machines for doing Revit remotely or utilizing AutoCAD or Civil 3D or InfraWorks or Plant 3D, whatever the solution may be, you typically need those high-powered machines to be able to run the software, as well as still maintaining your day-to-day software capabilities as well, utilizing Outlook and Word and Excel, things like that. So most of us don't have those high-powered desktops at our disposal. So some of the options that are currently out there is to utilize VDI. And you can use VM machines, cloud workstations, cloud app streaming services, things like that, through some of the more popular solutions out there, being WorkSpot, AWS, Amazon Web Services, the Microsoft Azure. They all provide their own types of solutions for these. So if you are considering, office-based versus cloud-based solutions, when we talk about office-based, that's users VPNing back into the office through the office firewall and either remote desktoping into their work computer in the office or directly connecting to files on the location, versus your cloud-based, where you have users that are using high-powered remote workstations in the cloud, using any of their maybe personal PCs or personal laptops, or some of them can even utilize Chromebooks. So those users out there that don't necessarily have those high-powered machines could benefit highly from those cloud-based workstations. So some of the considerations when going back and forth between the office-based and the cloud-based, your office-based is typically on-prem maintenance responsibility, where someone in the office needs to be able to either fire up those remote desktops, the office workstations, or having your IT maintain the VPN licensing or the remote desktop licensing. Staffing requirements. There's upfront cost into setting up some of that stuff and getting it all in place on-prem. There's static storage and bandwidth, control of security, flexibility of customizations, and confidentiality and privacy. The cloud-based is more reliance on the cloud provider for maintenance and data continuity. So you're relying on Azure or AWS for those data continuities. It's more low-cost, subscription-based, so you can really kind of fine-tune your machines how you need it, and the cost is depending on how you fine-tune those pieces of hardware for those machines, those virtual machines. And it's scalable. You can add workstations at need at a click of a button and be able to assign them to specific users. Secure, but still subject to breaches and hacks of hosts. Just like any internal or on-prem solutions, everybody is always at risk for data breaches. So if we want to give high-level overviews of some of these solutions, WorkSpot is really known for it's built around the AEC industry. It was built for architects, engineers, and construction specialists to utilize those virtual machines in the cloud. You can utilize cloud desktops. You can utilize cloud workstations. You can stream cloud apps. There's even cloud disaster recovery solutions out there. And you can even have a cloud and on-prem hybrid solution if you so choose. And a lot of it's based off of, they utilize the NVIDIA GPUs for graphics cards. So it's really catered to the AutoCAD, Revit, Navisworks, the Civil 3D, MicroStation, ArcGIS, whatever those solutions may be. It's WorkSpot is highly catered to the AEC space. And it actually works off of the Microsoft Azure platform. So it's actually built into Azure. So AWS, the Amazon Web Services, very similar. All of these solutions have their own, they're all very similar in the way that they work, where you can create cloud workstations, cloud desktops. Amazon has the Amazon App Stream 2.0, where you can stream specific apps and they get installed just like they would from the cloud side. Microsoft Azure, WorkSpot being hosted on Azure, or you can go directly to Azure. Most of us already utilize Azure for cloud backup solutions in the AEC space, and you may already have a current Azure contract with there, where you can go out to Azure and look at some of their virtual machine solutions that they have and see if any of those work for you. And they're all scalable. And when you talk about creating virtual machines, you can start up with a standard 8 GB RAM with, maybe just 2 GB of a GPU with a low processor, and you can scale those up as needed if you find out that your project requires a little bit more horsepower. At a click of a button, you can just add power to your PCs. So some of the cloud file storage solutions that are currently out there, you have more of your popular ones: BIM 360 Docs, Panzero, OneDrive, Bluebeam, Google Docs, Box, and so giving a high-level overview of some of these when you talk about some of the solutions. Bluebeam, you can utilize, everybody who has a Bluebeam review license has access to Bluebeam Studio. So when you talk about Studio can be utilized as a cloud file storage solution so that your team can gain access to them, so that a team member is adding additional team members to their studio project so that they can share files through the cloud. OneDrive. A lot of us are really kind of utilizing Office 365 nowadays, and a lot of our firms have made the transition to the Office 365 for cloud versus on-prem mail solutions. So if you have made that transition to that Office 365 subscription, everybody has access to OneDrive, and they all have a OneDrive for Business storage solution. So you can store and share files up in the cloud. It's just you will not be able to utilize it for Revit work sharing. Panzera. Panzera having a cloud server solution where you have your cloud hosted servers, your cloud servers on-prem that go through a deduping process, and they mirror solutions throughout all the different servers in the different offices. And you can gain access to those as remote workers utilizing a Panzera app. You can gain access to your office files directly through there. You can even do Revit work sharing. So diving a little bit deeper into some of these solutions, when you get into BIM 360 Docs, you have quite a few functionality up within BIM 360 Docs itself for file storage solutions. The versioning control is automatic up there. Every time you save a file in the same location, it will version out the different versions automatically for you in the cloud. Document control, the drawings, being able to publish drawings directly from Revit and have those show up within BIM 360 Docs. Markup the drawings. It has a very streamlined and simple markup set of tools that's built into the BIM 360 viewer. Being able to create issues and share those issues and assign them to specific team members and require response times. The 2D, 3D support. It has full capabilities within the BIM viewer or the BIM 360 viewer for viewing Revit files, AutoCAD files, Navisworks files. So that would be NWD, NWC, NWF. And it also has capabilities for viewing PDFs, Microsoft Word documents, Microsoft Excel documents. So the BIM 360 viewer is a very intuitive viewing solution. But you can still host any types of files up into BIM 360 data, and then giving you that mobile access, having it from your desktop where you can see the same files from your laptop, your Surface, your iPad, your iPhone, whatever it may be. Panzera, getting a little bit deeper into Panzera. So you typically have, if you have multiple offices across the country, across the globe, you have a Panzera box that sits in most of those locations, and those Panzera boxes talk to each other in live real time. So they're constantly getting real-time updates on each other, and you can open up that access to your remote workers that are working remotely so that they can gain access to every single file that's within the Office networks scenario. So the Bluebeam document management process all works through the Bluebeam Studio. So if you were to open up Bluebeam Review, there is a Studio tab within Bluebeam. You can create Studio projects so that you can save up any type of file into the Bluebeam Studio project. And once you have those Studio projects and files saved up there, you can then share those and send them off and really collaborate with your team a little bit better within the cloud. And then OneDrive, like we said, it's more of a file on-demand solution that most of us may have access to within our Office 365 currently, but there is OneDrive for personal use as well that you can sign up for a free OneDrive account and be able to share files and work on live files within the OneDrive desktop app. So most of these solutions all have a desktop app that you can connect your desktop currently up to any of these cloud solutions, so you can work on files and continue to work just as you would in a typical Office local area network where they feel like just simple drives on your PC. Production solutions. So how can we utilize some of these file storage solutions to help us in our production currently? So 3 of the main solutions out there for doing live production in the cloud. There's many others out there, but some of the 3 more prominent solutions that everyone's currently using and that we currently use. Autodesk BIM 360 design has become widely popular throughout the AEC industry for having those cloud-hosted Revit models and having that cloud work-shared models so that anybody across the globe can gain access to project files and be able to work live within the Revit environment. Panzura being able to have that live file sharing solution in the cloud for not just Revit, but any types of files so that you can work live in any files. And then VPNing back into the office. Having your remote users VPN back into the office. So some of the high-level overview, when you talk about the 3 of these solutions, Autodesk BIM 360 design is a real-time centralized Revit project data in the cloud. And having a version control automatically every time someone hits the synchronize button, you can actually, that version controls it. It creates those versions automatically in the cloud so you can roll back if something were to happen. So you get a little bit more stability within your Revit models. You can tie non-Revit collaborators into a project with that BIM 360 viewer. So those non-Revit users that do not have that Revit experience, they can open up utilizing the BIM 360 viewer and view Revit files, view the sheets within the Revit file, specific views that we can publish up there. Panzura having that fast file performance for all networking information and file types. The global collaboration without versioning. It has that limitless scalability options, and then military grade security. So the VPN remote access to all network information within a company local area network. It's a connection-based performance, so it all is dependent on the connection at the location where we're VPNing into. So whether it be the corporate office or where the domain controller is or where the file storage solution is. And it's maintained by the IT, your company IT. So when you think about that BIM 360 design workflow and how you're able to connect those project teams or the offices or the remote users, instead of VPNing your remote user looking out to the internet and then VPNing back into the office through the office firewall and trying to work on those Revit models, and all of that getting tunneled back into the office firewall, you go through BIM 360 design that goes directly out into Amazon Web Services, AWS. BIM 360 is all hosted on AWS. So all of your remote users, all of your offices are pointing out to AWS and working directly into those Revit models out in the cloud, and they get cached locally on the user's machines. And then you're also able to open up those BIM 360 projects to your partner firms that you are working with, or your consulting firms that you're working with, whether you're an architect working with MEP firms or structural firms, or a GC working with subcontractors. You're able to open up those projects to those external team members without having to share pertinent data that pertain to just your company, or and that all points out into the docs. It's all built off of BIM 360 docs. So Panzero, just a more detailed graph of how Panzero works when you're looking at having those Panzero boxes, the cloud boxes that just live in the cloud, and they live stream the data in between each of the boxes up into the Panzero cloud solution. And then opening that up, through the Panzero apps to your remote workers, and then having them work through live files that are directly inside of the office locations. And then coming back into the VPN solution, you have that lack of authority personal network, the latency issues, setting up those permissions and securities. There's a lot of protocols that need to go and thought in place before opening up a VPN solution for your remote workers. There's a lot more setup involved. And that's having those remote users work on whatever, if they have company issued laptops, or their personal laptops, or their personal desktops, you're opening up your network a little bit more to some of those external solutions when you give them VPN access through your firewall. So some of the team collaboration solutions that are currently out there, when we talk about team collaboration, working remotely, here at Microdesk, we have been all working remotely quite often for the better part of the decade here. So we've been set up with a lot of these solutions already, and a lot of times for us remote workers, we just kind of want to feel like we're part of a team. So how do we collaborate with our internal team members when questions do arise, or when issues arise, or trying to get assistance on certain things? So we currently have a lot of these solutions in place with GoToMeeting, RingCentral, having that VoIP in the cloud solution, Bluebeam Studio utilizing live sessions for markup. And then Office 365. Office 365 has a lot of solutions in place for keeping those internal team members connected on a daily basis. And then Slack being that more of your, I like to call it that LinkedIn, more professional social networking aspect for internal team members. So you have a company Slack website that team members can be collaborating on. So Office 365, the main collaboration tool, team collaboration tool within Office 365 is Office 365 Teams. So if you have migrated your email solution up into the Office 365 cloud, your team members have access to Office 365 Teams. And it gives you that functionality of that instant connection between all of your team members, whether if it's quickly instant messaging teams across the country or across different teams, whatever it may be, setting up those online meetings and having those audio conferencing, all of those at the click of a button, being able to set up some of these solutions very quickly and being able to collaborate with those team members internally. And having that work anywhere. So not only can you instant message and set up online meetings and audio conferencing all through the desktop apps, or you can do that through your mobile applications with iPad, with iPhone. So anywhere on the go, you can be connecting with your teams. RingCentral, the VoIP cloud solution for your phone system. We currently are utilizing RingCentral here for our corporate-wide phone solution. And it gives you that access to be able to call anybody utilizing your corporate company phone number through your desktop, or through the iPhone app, or through an iPad, whatever it may be. But then you're also have that functionality of connecting with teams, setting up team spaces where you can be chatting with an entire team of people through an instant message or a quick messaging tool. Setting up those conference lines tends to be a lot easier at a click of a button, where I can pull in multiple people at the click of a button in the same conversation. Having those video meetings, being able to video chat with people nowadays seems to be a lot easier on those remote workers, where we actually feel like we're interacting with people instead of sitting in a dark room in some of our remote basements nowadays and feeling like we're so isolated from the world. And it also lets us utilize instant messaging within our teams. Slack being that professional social networking aspect for specific offices, specific teams, whatever it may be. Being able to create channels for, maybe you have a marketing group here, or maybe you have a sales team or a consulting team, an architectural team, or most of the architectural firms, they have higher ed, split out their firms into higher ed and healthcare and hospitality. So setting up those specific channels or those specific teams on any of these solutions, being able to chat with those team members, just like you can in Slack here. And Slack integrates with most of the service we already use as well too. So you can integrate Slack into Office 365 or most other solutions that are currently out there. And then GoToMeeting. Most of us in the AEC space are very familiar with GoToMeeting, probably having been on a GoToMeeting over the past decade or so. But GoToMeeting has so many other solutions out there for the industry to help us communicate with our team, to feel like a team, for that more team collaboration, utilizing GoToConnect or GoToRoom, having that GoToWebinar. Most of us attended the GoToWebinar for this remote working solutions. And then GoToTraining, being able to train staff remotely for onboarding solutions, or training them in specific how-to tips in Revit, whatever it may be. There's more solutions out there for GoTo than most people realize. And then Bluebeam Studio. Bluebeam Studio, those projects, expanding upon that file storage aspect, having those PDFs up in the cloud, but then from those PDFs up in the cloud from that file storage, you're taking it to that next level with Studio Sessions. You can create a live session within Bluebeam Studio that you can pull in multiple team members or invite internal and external team members to a studio session where you can collaborate, make design decisions, make comments, make coordination decisions, whatever it may be, through those studio sessions. And if you have a Bluebeam review license, you currently have access to these Bluebeam studios. So not a lot of people are aware of those studio sessions that they currently have access to. So the remote support solutions, how can we, if we come across issues, how can we best get remote support from our IT team members or our BIM managers or our BIM leads that are on projects? How can they be assisting some of our remote production staff when they come across these issues? So some of the major solutions that we see out there currently, you have Team Viewer from Quick Assist. You have Rescue from LogMeIn, which was formerly that GoTo Assist from GoTo. And then you have Quick Assist, which is a Windows-based solution, Microsoft. So some of the main key points to these solutions, when you think about Team Viewer, the Quick Assist, it's very responsive. It's got a responsive control, and it's got that built-in file sharing aspect where you can quickly send and receive files through the Team Viewer chat room. And you can run without installing those desktop installers where if you need to quickly log into somewhere, GoTo's, you have to typically install some type of solution to, let people gain access to your desktop or your laptop. You can actually run it without having to run any type of installer. And it's easy to connect to multiple computers. Rescue by LogMeIn, it has that low lag, very quick, it's a very smooth streaming service. So as you're getting remote help, a lot of times, if you're used to using that remote assistance type of scenario, and you're dragging your cursor across the screen and you have to wait a little bit for the cursor to catch up or things like that, you get that low lag, and that it's a more smooth streaming service. You can remote start the service so that if someone doesn't necessarily know how to turn on or give access to specific users, those IT professionals or those BIM managers or those BIM leads, whatever they may be, can remotely start that service on those remote users' PCs that need those assistants. And there's fewer permissions needed. The Quick Assist. Through Windows 10, it's low cost. It's typically free. So the Quick Assist is all built through Windows 10, and most of us have gone through the upgrade over the past few years in making sure that we're all on Windows 10. And it works well with the Active Directory. All of our current infrastructures have Active Directories in place. So it's well integrated with our current Active Directory solution. And then the VPN needed on a secure networks. Available on all Windows computers. So most of us that work in the AC space, we have Windows. For those Mac users, you're more going to be pushed towards either the Rescue or the Team Viewer. So, and we're here to help. Microdesk, we have a lot of these solutions. We've been, a lot of our team members have been remote across the country, across the globe for the better part of the decade here. A lot of these solutions we're not partners with, and the idea was to just let people know that they have options out there, and we're here to help in any experiences that we've had over the past decade and share our progressions or our pain points or whatever it may be with our partners or our clients to make sure that everybody is working in these times and still being efficient and productive. So the idea was to just let people know of the solutions that we currently have access to. There's many other solutions that are currently out there. We can spend all day on talking all the different solutions that we have for remote working. But the idea was to just let everybody know a high-level overview of some of the solutions that are out there, and we're here to help. So the ones that we are partners with, we are Autodesk Platinum partners. We are partners with IBM and Panzura, EaglePoint, Enscape, and Bluebeam. So we do offer specific trainings and specific implementations on a lot of our partners. And we do have people that come from the industry like Brad and Ray that have additional experience that even if we're not partners with some of these solutions, we're more than happy to help out and help strategically plan out the implementations of these services with most of our clients. So feel free to reach out to us. Go out to our website, www.microdesk.com, and take a look at some of our solutions, and you can even get to know some of our team members out through our website. And then use the contact portion on there and send us some information on what you may need help with. You can always give us a call from our US or UK lines, and that will go directly to our sales support staff, and they'll connect you with the proper channels that you may need. Or just email us at salessupport@microdesk.com. The emails will come in, and that will go to our sales support team, and they will forward those emails directly to myself, Ray, Brad, or your account representative that will get you the right information that you need. Or if we need to jump on a call and help strategically plan out some of these initiatives with you, we are here to help. So thank you for taking the time and viewing this presentation with us. We hope that it relayed a lot of information from some of the different solutions that are out there, and feel free to reach out.